what, like maybe 10 channels, 12 channels, and two of my favorite shows was Family Ties, I don't know, and what was it? There was a show right after that. It was a family show, Taxi or something. I forget what it was, but no, not Full House. But that was a good show too. But anyway, so what we would do is so I would shows would come on like 7 and 8, and after like at 9 o'clock, I watch the TV. My parents would let me. Then I start doing my homework, and I'd be like up from 9 p.m. to like midnight, and I did this constantly. So I felt I could get away with it, So I'm still doing my homework. I still want to watch my TV, but that was my priority. And my parents really didn't do anything about it because they figured, oh well, he's still doing his homework, But it's been that way from now. As soon as that at night, I watch 1 to 2 hours of TV every single day religiously, and I say, oh my goodness, I'm just wasting a bunch of time. And there's a lot of positive things, there's a bunch of negative things in there. So now have you done anything to, Brother Frank, to stop watching so many TV?
Can you? Hand in hand with something else. I need to watch less TV.
Okay.
And I need to start reading more.
Okay.
I've never been a reader in my life that much.
Okay.
But I've been doing a little better lately. So what I've done is. My reading material I put right on the coffee table.
Okay.
And there's my TV.
Okay.
So I have my literature out there more.
Oh, okay.
So I can pick it up instead of saying like the book's upstairs or somewhere. I put it right within my reach.
Okay.
And I do that first, and then I've been putting the TV on after. You know what I mean?
Oh, okay.
So I'm getting more reading in.
More reading in. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So you actually started something new, and less TV, to prevent you from doing TV. And I don't know if you guys heard Frank. I have the exact same issue. He said we were talking about last week that if you want to change a habit, a lot of times make it easy. So make it obvious, and then create an environment, engineer your surroundings around where your TV's maybe further away, or you put books on the table. Before you watch a little TV, you read some books. You read a little bit every day, and it becomes more important the reading than the TV. So you become a more interesting person instead of just telling everybody what TV show you watch. It's becoming more educated. Now it's funny you mentioned that because I did almost the same thing. Okay, like I said, I have like a living room, and I have and again, this is not to brag or anything. I just love sports. I have like a 75-inch TV in the living room, and I have like sports. I mean, like movie theater type chairs, and I just make it comfortable. It makes it comfortable to watch TV. And I'm like, oh my goodness, how am I going to do this? So I live by myself, and I can't. There's no way I can pick up. I got so desperate. I said, well, I'm going to pick up the TV. I'm going to go ahead and pick up the TV, and then move it. But I can't. It's too heavy. So I said, what can I do? I think I have a picture of it on my phone. But anyway, I got a big old blanket, and I just threw it over my TV. I just threw it over here, and I said, So I just threw it over there, threw it over the TV, and covered it all up. And then I did the same thing. I put on the table. I just put a bunch of books and material, and when I'm bored, I have to do something. So it just forced it. Well, I'm not just going to sit around and do something. I'll read. So that's what I've been doing. I'm trying the same thing, just reading. And today's like, day 4 without a TV, and I'm like shaking right now.
I haven't gone
Yeah.
without it. I just cut it
Oh,
down.
you cut it down. Hey, it's a start.
Not completely.
Yeah.
Because I am getting my reading in.
You're getting your reading in.
I'm like you got your TV, but you still get your homework.
Right. So I just said I'm gonna do this for 1 week, and then after that, I can't cut it completely out, right? So what I said, okay, so I'm gonna watch less TV, but if I miss a day of reading, if I miss a day of reading, then I have to be without TV for 2 days. So it's kind of like I punish myself for it, I said I'm gonna be without TV for 2 days if I miss, because it could motivate me to read. I said, oh shoot, I want to do this. So there's at the end of the class, or like in the middle of it, we're gonna do something called a habit contract.
Is that it?
And it's in the package you guys received. It should be in there.
Habit contract?
Yeah, the habit contract. And And you can do it while you're watching the video. Does it look like this? It's kind of, it should have like a bullseye or something on it.
It says habit contract.
No, that's not the one. That's his habit contract. Let me see if I got one in. I could think I brought an extra one.
Oh, yeah, I got it, yeah.
You got it?
I got 2 of them there.
Oh, you, okay,
The other
the more
one
the
says
merrier.
same thing. The other one says-
Make more copies of that one.
Yeah, the other one says the same thing.
So during the class, like in between, what it basically asks for, and I want you to, each of you to do this before by the end of the class, is my goal is, whatever it is. Okay,
Just one
like
of them?
my goal is to quit smoking, or it could be something positive. My goal is to work out more. My goal is to cook more and not go out and eat so much fast food. Or yours is, or your goal.
Yeah, but
My
I've
goal
got
is to
several
read
of them,
more.
so which one do you put down?
Just one that's really important to you.
Oh, okay, all right.
Just one that's really
Okay.
important to you. And that's the one I put. My goal is to become a consistent reader and read 12 books for the next year. Or 12 books a year. All right. And then, so what I did, just to give you an example, to reach this goal, I'll do the following. You know, as far as the habits, what habits are going to do. So we're focusing on the system. It says, after every good cup of coffee, I'm going to read 20 minutes. So one of the things we're going to study today is tying you already have habits right now. You already have good habits, okay? So there's something you yearn for, something you want to do every day. You just do it naturally. You already have that. So what you're going to do is tie your good habit, whatever you have, to the one you're trying to create, called habit matching. Okay. Hey, brother. Oh, hey, how you doing? Pastor Martell's here. All right. He's probably going to have some input in the class too. So it's called habit matching. So for example, I put, after every good cup of coffee, I'm going to read 20 minutes a day. Because I already love to drink coffee. The first thing I do in the morning is go get some coffee. All of you, the first thing you probably go do is go brush your teeth, go to the bathroom, do something. There's something you do every morning. Pick up your phone. Don't lie. You know, you probably pick up your phone and watch your social media. I don't know what you do. But whatever you do consistently, put something there that'll help you achieve this goal in the beginning. Okay?
So like whatever we do out of just neutral habit?
Out of neutral habit, on a
Okay.
daily habit. Yeah, on a consistent basis that you do, you pick the phone, you talk to somebody. It's as soon as I wake up, I call my sister. You know, there's something everybody does. Like one thing I do, I gotta be honest with you, that's what I do. The first thing I do is wake up and crawl to the coffee maker and make some coffee. All right? And then after that, I says, okay, so I already do that. So if I'm gonna do that, after that, I have to read 20 minutes of the Bible, a book, or something. I got to do 20 minutes of reading. Okay?
So on our, to reach this goal, I would do the following, fill all 3? right
Yeah.
now? Okay.
Yeah, fill out, if you can do 2, just do 2 actions that you're going to do.
Okay.
So that's going to be the systems. We're focusing on systems, not the goal, but the system.
Okay.
And then the second thing is I was talking about like a punishment reward type thing. Is just to give you an example, is if I miss a day of reading, I can't watch TV for 2 days.
Right.
Okay?
Oh, okay. So it's a
Okay.
discipline.
It's a discipline thing.
All right.
So if you miss a day of let's say working out, you know, you have to punish yourself some way.
Right.
You have to donate $20 to a charity or an organization.
He talked about giving his wife,
Mhm.
what was it, like $500 or something like that?
If he missed something, yeah.
Yeah, okay. all
A
right.
date night or something. I don't know what it was.
Yeah, but he made it to where it was
Yeah.
it was pretty hefty if he broke
Mhm.
his own laws.
Right. And if you recall in the last video, we watched it in the review. Remember we watched the last video?
Right.
It said one of the things you want to do, one of the tips is while you're doing this, like like many of us are participating in the Daniel fast for the church, for 21 days.
Right.
Okay, we're not all perfect. We're going to mess up. Pastor even talked about it. Hey, if you mess up, so what? Get back up and start up for the next day. And one of the key principles of this book, it teaches never miss twice. So that's one of your new rules in your life. That should be one of the new rules. Okay, if you're starting something new, we're all going to stumble, we're all going to fall, we're all going to miss a workout, we're not going to call that person, we're not going to be consistent. It's going to happen, and just say, oh, what? Okay, my rule is, okay, I can miss once. I just can't miss twice.
Right.
So if you keep that in your head, it'll keep you consistent. You messed up one day, you ate a donut, oh well, start up the next day. Okay, let's get back on the Daniel fast, right? So that's just an example of what I'm talking about. And then, like I said, just 3 things. It says, to reach this goal, I'll do the following. And whatever you want to do, I just kind of give you guys some examples to help you do it. Oh, and I think in the bottom it even says, if you don't do the things above, then this is the penalty. So one of mine too, like, is if just to give you an example, is I like to do a hike one day, and then do weights the next. But one time I'll miss. But if I miss the hike, I got to do the hike and the run the next day, both. I don't care what. It's good. So, and I don't want to do that because it's hard. You know, I'm getting older. So I'm just giving you an example. Hey, if you miss one day of reading for 20 minutes, okay, the next day you got to do that 40 minutes, okay, to make up for it, and that's your punishment. So that's just an example of things you can tell yourself you can do to discipline yourself to be consistent in your habits. All right. Okay. So yeah. So just while we're going through the videos and everything, if you guys can try to fill that out, I'll give you. You know what, Pastor Barnes? I'll kind of give you a copy of the outline of what it looks like.
Yes.
And then you can kind of copy the outline.
That's exactly what I'm doing.
And then, all right. So last week, what we did was we talked about, and I think Pastor even had a sermon on this a couple of weeks ago, is about making it obvious. Okay, and it's called the first law in the chapter. It focuses on this idea of making it obvious. So again, if you want to start a new habit, you have to set up. Don't just say, tomorrow I'm gonna start running, or tomorrow I'm gonna start eating better, or tomorrow I'm gonna start practicing my Spanish. Okay, because it's never going to happen.
Right.
Right. It's just never going to. You're going to say this, and I gave this example. I've been through. You go to church, you listen to this awesome sermon, it's great information, but you never set a time or date or location of when you want to apply that. So it really focuses on that. It says, okay, when you make a habit or you want to do something new, right? Immediately write down, okay, tomorrow I'm going to start to walk 10 minutes a day. On Tuesdays and Thursdays, right? And do something. I just keep saying walking, running, hiking. Don't do something. That's what I like to do. Do something you like to do. Some of you like to bike ride. Some of you maybe can do something social. Say, I'm gonna call my friend up. Maybe we can get up early in the morning and walk for 15 minutes. You like to skateboard. Just different activities. You like to play ball.
You know, one thing when you mention that that's been good, like in our real estate group, is we have a text group to where we all okay, so the text group it's called the 6 a.m. group.
Okay.
And what you do is you text what you're doing at that time. So this group, when I started teaching this in my real estate office, it almost, it created a lot of good pressure, because there were some people, like, all of our goals were to sell more, but we were also addressing like things on our own. So most of the people were like, man, if I got in better shape, I would be a better salesman. If I felt better about myself, I would be able to sell these products better. So we do that every morning at 6 a.m. So it's like, now, there's probably like 50 people on this call. Okay. But there's people that are doing yoga. Some people they'll just put a picture of what they're eating, what they're starting their morning off with. Some people, like, they put their cup of coffee every day. Some people are in the gym. Some people are helping their kids with, but it's something where one of the things on our list was to stay up with the group chat. With the group chat? Yeah. Okay. To make a post on it every day. So like the 6 a.m. group, or like the part of the group that's the 6 a.m. club, they're typically working on something like weight related, body related. But then there's people like that post at noon. And what you do is you post from your to-do list what you've gotten done. So, most of it is just list what people wrote down.
Okay.
But what it does is it creates a lot of momentum. Because if I see that Jerry has shown 5 homes today, and I haven't shown any, then that makes me feel like, man, I need to be doing what Jerry's doing. Okay, well, if I look back at it, Jerry was up at 6. Jerry did his workout, so.
Yeah, it creates a little like internal competition and everything.
Yeah. It created a good competition.
Yeah. Actually, the subject of the chapter we're reading, it talks a lot about how our friends and family and the people we hang out with and the groups we hang out with, the culture we're in, really controls how we live our daily lives. Like I saw a study on Japan, and it was talking about they have the lowest obesity rate. I think it's like 6%, and ours is over 50. Right. And they live the longest, and they're elderly. When they're 60, 70, they're walking around fishing, hanging out, and one of the things they do is the most important thing is, number one, is their diet. They eat fresh fish and vegetables. That's pretty much their diet. And then they have this thing where when they eat, they have like a rule, and it's a cultural rule that you only eat up until you're 80% full, and then you got to stop. And it's widely accepted. And then they're really big on when they eat, and we used to do this as the American society, they eat as a group. They eat, like, even at lunch, they all get together and eat, families and everything, like, and now we kind of got stepped away from that.
Right.
And they said that's why they're so, it's not only mentally, but what they eat and all the other things they do. I'm like, wow, that's interesting. And they said, hey, and it talks in the book about if you want to live and feel a certain way, and there's a certain culture that has those attributes, well, just adopt that culture. Just start doing what they do. It literally said that. It just because we follow the herd. No matter what people say, we're independent. We all that. Right. We all do things that other people do. If everybody does this one thing, we'll follow along. So we're going to do that, right? We're going to follow the group no matter what. So what you do is look for a group that's getting the results or doing the things you want to do. And I'm talking about even in the spiritual sense. If you want to be a prayer warrior, you say, man, I'm not praying. I don't pray as much as I should. I really want to pray more. Well, go online, go talk to somebody, or put a group together, or find somebody who'd like to pray, and then say, hey, can I pray with you every single day? And have, like Pastor Martel was saying, have somebody keep you accountable. And trust me, what they do is going to rub off on you. But it's better to do it with the group of people. Okay, so it talks about that, and then so set up a time and date to do something, and then motivation is overrated, right? And we talked about the video last week where it said something about that they got a group and they showed them a motivational video and to exercise more, and they watched the video and they didn't do anything. And then the next group, what they did was they not only showed them the video, they told them to do the thing I'm telling you to do, is write a time, day, and location, and when you're going to start that new habit. And they said like 75% of the group started to exercise more, like 75% of them, just because they did that one thing. So always do things that, because your environment does matter. I was telling before you came past Martel that I have a bad habit of watching TV. I watch too much TV, and my TV is too heavy to move, so I just threw a blanket over it. And I haven't watched TV for like 4 days now. Wow. And I said I'm shaking. I just threw a blanket on it. I just to make it harder. Sometimes you can't get rid of the thing, but whatever it is, you can make it harder. Make it harder to do that thing, that bad habit. In the book of even the Bible, it says in 1 Corinthians 10:13, it says no temptation has overcome you except that which is common to man. Or woman, right? Or woman. Right. And God is faithful, and you will not be tempted beyond what you could bear. Hear what he said. The Bible says, but when the temptation does come, God will always provide a way of escape so you can stand up under it. Yeah, so biblically, it's even Joseph, when he was faced with that temptation, or that lady was found, the Bible said he just flee, ran. That's it.
Yep.
So
What scripture was it?
it was 1 Corinthians 10:13. So there really, if you read the book, there really is no way to overcome a bad habit with self-discipline. Like if you're dealing with alcoholism and working in a bar and all your friends are drinking, that's not going to help you. The way to cut that out, just to overcome that, obviously you want to go through some kind of treatment or AA classes and things like that. But on top of that, you got to cut that off. You got to not go in the bars. You got to not be exposed to that. Not go to a party. There's going to be drinking right there. Not do those things. You just got to cut them off, because you're going to rely on your self-determination, and eventually you're going to fall. You might get, as I was reading the book, it says you might get away with it 2 or 3 times, but after that, eventually you're going to fall. Just completely cut it off. It's easier to practice self-restraint when you don't have to deal with it. So whatever that is, it says in the book, so make it invisible. Reduce your exposure to it. Self-control will work short term, but never works in the long term, as far as overcoming a bad habit. All right. So let's go ahead and, okay. All right, so let me show you. Brother Art helped me out with this, setting up this easel here. I'm glad he got it. So this is something I was learning in the book. It's my drawing abilities here. Okay, so in the book it talks about making it irresistible, okay? And it was talking about this scientist in 1954 as a Nobel Peace Prize winner. And he did an experiment. There was I'll try to draw a beak of a bird, okay? Pretend this is the beak of a bird, okay? It's a mama bird. It's a mama bird, okay? And then, so what he did was, he noticed this mama, I don't know what species this bird is, by the way. Okay, this is a little red dot. And he noticed that the little babies, when they hatched, if they were hungry, what the little babies would do is they would poke at the mama's beak on the red dot. He goes, that's fascinating. He started observing this and started recording in his notes. And it happened all the time. Every time the baby chick was hungry or wanted something, paid attention, he wouldn't poke anywhere else. The baby, he or she, would poke on the little dot. He goes, wow, that's weird. And he goes, okay. And so he tried something. So what he did was, he got like a little card, I think, like just a little cardboard. And then what he did was put a little red dot on it. And he put it in a nest, right? He put in the little nest right here, and just to see what would happen. So when he put the little card in the nest, what was happening, the little chicks were hitting it too. And they didn't know. It was just like instinctive. They just saw the little dot. Yeah, subconscious. They were thinking that was the mama. And they were picking at the little red dot. He goes, huh? He goes, that's interesting. He goes, wow, that's fascinating. So what he did was, he said, what if I do this? What if I make this bigger? All right? Is that going to do anything? Is that going to change anything? Right? And then so when he did that, the little hens, the little chicks, not the hens, the little chicks, they went out of control. They started hitting that thing like it was crazy. They were like, I don't know, like they were, they were energetic. They were trying to get the mama's attention, but they were doing it like 4 or 5, 10 times as much. And I go, why is that? And what it is he called it exaggerated exposure, something like that. And then he said, and then he did experiments with other animals, and he noticed the same thing would happen. That when there was a duck that laid an egg, and then when the egg would roll off, the duck would go out and go get it, right? Go get the little thing. And then, so what he did was he just got a little, like a baseball, and the duck would just go out there, and the baseball is a lot heavier, and the duck would bring it back, and he'd try to sit on the baseball. So it's funny. So so what it's saying is when we exaggerate something, it makes us, it draws us to have repeated actions on that thing. Okay, it exaggerates when we exaggerate it. So what he noticed was that he did this thing with mice too, with mice. He what they did was what do they call it? Endorphin. Let me see. Let me grab the book here. Not adrenaline rush. That's not the word I'm looking for. Excuse me here.
Dopamine?
Dopamine, yeah. Dopamine. Yeah, the dopamine. So what they did was they sent electrical impulses through the mouse's body to cut the dopamine effects of it. Okay? Because dopamine creates desire creates action. Okay? Without dopamine, we don't have no desire to create an action. So we cut it, and then what happened was the mice would just lose all will to live. They were very depressed. They were thirsty, and eventually they started dying. All right. So another thing. So what they did too is they said, what if we take these mice, where we cut off their dopamine, and then give them a little sugar water, and they fed them a little sugar water, and they looked at it, and they would taste it. They were drinking it, but they weren't really interested. Yeah, it's funny. They said because normally they would be.
Yeah.
Yeah, they still like looked at it. And they says, "Wow, Rob, if you cut up that dopamine effect, no matter what, if they're addicted to something, it'll just cut it off." And that was interesting. And then so what they did was they shot up some of these mice with dopamine. They raised their dopamine level, and then as soon as they gave them like some sugar water, I mean they just went crazy. They were just very alive, very energetic, and everything. And it says, wow, that's interesting. And then so what happened was during these experiments, what they thought was that dopamine was the only thing that the action of pleasure, when you experience pleasure, once you experience dopamine was a desire to once you experience pleasure, that's the only time dopamine worked, right? That created that desire.
There's a reward.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they found something interesting. They said they found out that the anticipation of doing something is a bigger hit than the actually doing something itself. Like for example, I remember when I was growing up and when Christmas came around, the day before you're really excited about Christmas. And then I mean the excitement level was there. And when you actually got the presents and everything, you were still excited, but they're saying you weren't excited as the day before. Well, you're going on vacation, you're excited about going to this really good place, and then the couple of days you're packing up, you got this adrenaline rush, and then when you get there, it's not as exciting.
Right.
And I go, wow, so that's what they found out, that it says if we can get people excited about, they don't even have to do it, It's about the process. Like for example, I had a Haitian family staying with me. Okay, for a little bit, and they never had pizza before, and I brought them a pizza. Okay, when they had it, oh my God, it was like the best thing in the world for them. They loved it. They were chopping it up, man. They were like, oh my goodness, that's the best thing. And mind you, I got the opportunity to go to Haiti, and from what I witnessed, they have their own farms. They grow their own food naturally. Everything's organic. It's one of the poorest countries in the world, but I've never been to a country. I've been to Canada, I've been to Japan, I've been to several different countries. I didn't see anybody wearing glasses. 40, 50 years old, 60 years old, maybe 1, 2. And I said, wow, there's something. And I went during the COVID outbreak, and nobody had COVID. Nobody was walking around wearing masks. I kid you not. And I said, there's got to be something that they're doing that we're not doing, right?
Yeah.
You know. So what I'm saying is so back to that dopamine thing, right? We're going back to that. So what I'm saying is now if I just mention pizza to them, oh, they get super excited, you know. And they get more excited than when they actually get it, say, oh, I'll get it to you for tomorrow. And they, oh, really? All right. They're all excited about it when they get it tomorrow, they eat it. But they don't still get that same rush as they did before when they ate it.
Yeah.
The anticipation of it is more now than it was when they actually eat it now.
You know, I'm going to go on the dark side with this one.
Okay.
And this is, if any of, if any of y'all have ever stolen, you know, as a young person, to steal, I mean, it was like, you know, oh, okay, I'm gonna see what I can get out of here. I'm gonna see what I can get. And then, you know, you go in there, you steal whatever, you look around, nobody's where, you walk out the door gently, nobody's got, you're halfway home and like, wow, I just got this. But then it was, to me, it was never enough. I wanted to go back the next day and sometime the same day and go back and do the same exact thing again. And see, I didn't, when I read this book in 2019, I really didn't identify it until I was reading in there, and that's how I was describing it. I just thought that I was a thief. I just thought that, like, I got off on stealing stuff, but there's actually a dopamine rush that you get when you, even like on things that are bad, like, you know, like, I don't know, mind you, I don't do this anymore. Over that part of my life, but there was a season in my life where it was hard to not steal stuff, and I look at like that. It was literally just the dopamine. Like, I remember I would go through the grocery store, and I would look in the back of people's truck, and I see, oh, they got this, I just grab it. Oh, I got that, I just grab it. And it was, you know, the original rush of all of it. It was like I couldn't, if I saw something, I could not even resist it. I had to take it. I just, like, or eat dumb stuff. Me and my friend, I remember one year for Christmas, we stole a bunch of Christmas trees. And it was like, well, why'd y'all, like, even when we brought them back, we're like, man, why do we even steal that? Like, oh man, because it was fun. Yeah. It was fun, but then it was more like a chemical thing. It was almost like I couldn't resist because it was just, it was something, and I think that, like, when you identify that chemical, then I could see, like, other things that I did, or like even good things, like finishing something, completing something, getting, like, doing honest work and getting my paycheck. I remember, like, when I really got my life together and just started making an honest living, that was a dopamine rush. Like, I knew I was gonna get paid on Friday. I go into work on Thursday, happy as happy could be, because I knew Friday was gonna get ready to get my money. And I think that that's what kind of took over. Like, I had a real draw to just take stuff that wasn't mine. And I didn't understand, like, why can't I be like everybody else? Why can't I just go into a place and not think about wanting to steal or about getting off to this? But it truly, sometimes when we really look in the mirror, it's a chemical pull. Just like with drugs or alcohol, I'm sure. Like, you know, if you getting ready to go out, or like when I'm sure all of us experimented with alcohol when we were younger. And those first couple of times of getting drunk or getting tipsy or whatever, I mean, I would have done anything to get that feeling. But I look at now, okay, that's not, but it's just, I think it just shows how dopamine can be like a major contributor to good and bad things we have. So.
No, you're right.
I'm
No, I
laughing at what you're saying, talking about the first couple of times. I'm laughing at what you're saying, but it worked for me like decades and decades.
Of what?
That rush.
Oh,
That rush, yeah.
It wasn't just the first couple of times. It was
Right.
decades and decades.
Yeah. No,
But
it was.
but you talk about a straight up alcoholic.
Yeah.
Right.
It's not just,
Yeah.
No, that's true. Yeah, I mean, it's the same thing. It's the same principle. It's you know, I have friends of alcohol, gambling,
Yeah,
Gambling's a
yeah.
big one. I know Press Martell had an issue with that. And I that friend tell you, man, he could win. He'd go in there and win a bunch of money, and he'll get all excited, and then but still he'll still use all those winnings. He'll put it right back in because he wants that feeling again.
Yeah.
It wasn't even about the money at that point. It was about that rush.
Yep.
It was about that rush.
So to get the correct,
Hmm?
let me see if I'm understanding that word again. What do you call it? It starts
Dopamine?
with the D- Yeah.
Dopamine.
Dopamine.
That's the rush?
That's the chemical within us.
I've never heard of that before.
Yeah,
Never
it's
heard of that.
it's our reward
When you
chemical.
first started talking about it, I'm trying to figure out what you're talking about. You know, is that a liquid or what is
Right,
that?
Oh, okay,
right.
You know?
okay.
Dopamine,
It's a
yeah.
chemical in our brain that's released when we
Yeah.
take a certain drug, you know, and and all of us react to it differently. Like, you know, all of us react. I'm not really, you know, I've never really took drugs and stuff, you know, smoked weed or anything like that. But one time I hurt my arm and I think they prescribed me oxycodone, and I took that for the first time, and oh my God, that was like the best feeling in the world. I felt like I was on cloud nine, and I said, oh my God, I could see why people get addicted to it. Thank God I was disciplined enough to just use I think it was only 4 for the prescription, and that was it, and it was gone. But I, you know, I can see, and it's dangerous because if you're aware of it now, you could do something about it. You know, sometimes it's just we're not aware of it. Like you're probably a kid when you were, you know, you got that rush and you thought you wanted to steal, but no, you just wanted that feeling again. It's like, wow, we got away with it.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
See, and it wasn't about what was being stolen. You know, it was just about like the feeling of like, okay, I know that there's cameras in here. I know
Yeah.
that people are watching. Uh-oh, I don't think. All right, ready, go. And just that feeling, it is. It's the dopamine rush.
Perpetuates, yeah. And here's the thing, unfortunately, one of the, you know, back in the day, I'm sure back in the 1800s and some before, we would eat foods that were not processed,
Yeah.
you know, very low sugar, you know, very little salt. But the 3 key things in the food industry that what they're marketing in the United States, all these companies, the 3 things are fat, sugar, and salt.
Yep.
These 3 things right here. So remember I was talking about the bird? There's a reason I went to that bird thing. Okay. So these engineers, these scientists that work for these big companies, you know, Frito-Lay and all them, trust me, they spend millions of dollars to research this. And they said, okay, so we know how the brain works. This is, if there's a way we can increase these 3 things in the food that we eat, make it better, more appetizing, more addictive, we're going to be able to sell a lot of them. You know, we don't care about the health effects. I'll never tell you about the health effects.
Right.
Because think about it this way. My cousin, I had a nephew that stayed with me for a while. I was helping him out. He stayed there for 2 months. I'm not a big sweet person. I don't eat that much cookies and stuff. And every week he'd go to the grocery store. He'd bring a big old box of Oreos and just put them right on the table. And I just see him. First 2 days, nothing. But after that, I ate 1. And I'm like, oh. I said, wow, and it feels good, you know. And I want to get another one. I said, no. And then the next day, I'd get 2, and then 3. And I went, wow. And I told him, I said, you know what? Put these cookies away. Don't buy them because these things are addictive. Okay. The reason these things are addictive because they've enhanced those foods with these 3 things, and they're killing it. Fat, sugar, and salt. All right. How many people do you know who, if I give you a bowl, Pastor Martel probably, he would probably come, but I give you a bowl of celery sticks, but you're like, wow, I can't get enough of these celery sticks. Probably not, right?
Gotta make 'em flavor.
I mean, you'll eat it,
Yeah, right.
you'll eat it, but you're probably not, or a bunch of carrots, right? You're not gonna go,
Right.
oh my God, I can't wait to eat this whole bag of carrots. You might eat 3 or 4, but that's about it. You're gonna stop, you know, no matter if you're a health nut or not, you're gonna stop.
Right.
But a bag of chips, You know, we've all been there. We get one chip and we eat over and over. They're filled with salt, and that's
Don't sit down with
addicting.
the bag in your hand.
Oh yeah,
Right,
they make
yeah.
Knock it out.
Yep, that's right.
they,
That's right.
They make it addicting. And one of the things we were studying is create an environment where, if you're having problems with that, if you're dealing, if you want to have a healthier lifestyle, sorry, but don't buy chips. Don't buy potato chips.
Yeah.
Don't buy it because they're addictive. Buy something else. Whatever you have at your house, trust me, you'll eat it. If you're hungry, if you have a bunch of apples at your house or a bunch of carrots or whatever it is,
Or just buy a small bag.
that'll
That's it.
set you off, man. You're going to buy a big bag.
Right.
You know?
Yeah,
Once
little
that's it.
Right.
Yeah, because I mean, I'm being transparent here. About 6 months ago, I was diagnosed with diabetic. Excuse me, pre-diabetic, and then I says, oh, because you eat too much carbs, you know, it converts it to sugar and the breads and the pasta, you know, La Latino diets, tortillas and
Right.
Yeah.
everything. And the doctor said, hey, if you can cut a lot of that out, you know, you can reverse this. And then I couldn't, you know. I said I would buy good foods and bad foods.
Yeah. Right.
But then I would, you know, well, I can have a fish taco with a big tortilla. you know. And I said, man, this isn't working. I was going nuts. And I just literally cleared my whole house of sugar. I don't have any sugar in there at all. And people come to my house, hey, where's the sugar? I said, I don't have any sugar. I'm sorry. And then no soda. No, I got no soda, just water. What else? Yeah, so I just try to eliminate those things because when you try to, what do you say? Compromise. When you try to compromise, you know, it'll work for a little bit, but eventually it'll get you. You know, it'll get you. And then trust me, after a short period of time, if you all you like to drink soda and juice and all these sugary things, and then you switch to water, it's not gonna be easy. But trust me, after 1 or 2 weeks, it'll get a lot easier. You're gonna get used to the water. You're going, oh wow, this water tastes great. You're not even gonna think about it. You're just gonna drink the water. As that Brother Frank was talking about that, he said he was trying to drink more water, and one of the things he did was he put more water bottles around his house.
Right. Okay.
And then if you remember that story
Make it
last,
easy.
yeah, make it easy. Like
It's a
remember-
habit, you know, you're there and you sip on it, you know, whether you want it or not,
Yeah.
just because it's there.
Because trust me, if you had soda cans and beer
Right,
cans
you do the
around,
same thing with that.
you know, you're gonna get
Right.
frustrated, you're gonna get stressed,
Right.
and you're gonna crack open that, you know,
Right.
soda, beer, whatever it is, and that's the first thing you go to. If it's not there, then,
Yeah, because now
you know.
I'm drinking whether I need it or not, it's just the fact that it's there, you know.
Right.
Right,
I mean,
right.
In my mind, I know we need to drink more water,
Mhm.
Right.
you know.
Right.
No, and that's interesting. Like that, you know, if we can put barriers between us and what we like, the negative stuff, like not having the junk food at all in your house. So now, if you really get a craving for junk food,
Mhm.
you're gonna have to do a lot in order to get it. Those Oreos are not on the kitchen counter.
Mhm.
You're gonna have to go, open your garage, get in your car, drive all the
All the-
way down here, wait in line, go get, you know, and it's a process. And then when you think like, man, I don't want to have to do all
Your mind
that.
starts going through that process.
Yeah.
Your mind starts thinking about that. I'm like, oh, that's too much of a hassle.
You know, for
I'm not
me,
going to do
it's too
that.
much,
Yeah.
yeah.
For me, it starts at the store. When
That's
you're going up and
it.
down the aisles. If I don't bring that big bag of chips out, then that's it. 3-4 days, I'm not going to have none because I don't have any.
Right.
Right.
But if I snatch it,
Mhm.
it might be gone in a couple of days.
That's the truth.
No, you're right. You're right. Okay.
Same with ice cream, same thing.
Ice
you know.
cream, yeah.
Buy
everything.
none, you know.
And I'm not saying to eliminate, you know,
Yeah.
but now use it more of a reward system. Hey, people say, well, I want to start working, it's hard to work out, and you know, I said, well, you know what? Like I think Pastor Martello said that just start with a half a mile,
Yeah.
or start with a mile. And you don't think it's a little bit. Remember, you was talking about in the video, is to try to do 1%. You don't think it's a lot, but it is, because all we think about is that stupid mile. What's a mile going to do? You know, finish it in 20 minutes. But think about it. You could either do that mile a day, or you could sit down on the couch, do nothing. And here's the thing. After 30 days, if you do that 1 mile a day, you've done 30 miles.
Right.
Or you've done nothing. You sat on the couch, watched Netflix. What would you rather do? And trust me, that little bit of 20-minute walk, 15-minute walk that you did, eventually is going to make a big difference in your life. But we don't see it that way. That's the problem. Is when we start little, we don't see immediate results. You know, we don't see. That's why it's so hard to break bad habits, because they have, like if you like sugary snacks, or if you like soda, when you drink it, it makes you feel real good. You know, it gives you immediate effect. Where something like a good healthy habit, a lot of times really doesn't. It takes some time before you start feeling something.
You know, it's funny. When I was younger, when I was in marathon shape, before my marathons, it'd be a 3-month thing, and they tell you there to not go more than 10% from one week to the next.
Oh, okay.
Don't go over 10%.
Okay, just kind of gradually build up to it. Yeah. Well, brother, we're not there yet. We're half milers. We're half marathons. We're trying to get that. That's a good goal to do.
But that is, you know, like that sometimes the fear of when people work out is like, oh, I'm going to be so exhausted. I'm going to be so. Well, if you look at it like that, like, no, just go 10% more. That doesn't mean you're going to be exhausted. It just means you give 10% more effort.
And whatever it is, just show up. Like I said, there was a story in the book, and I think it was one of the videos. He was saying that this one guy, I think he was about 150 pounds overweight, and so he finally decided enough is enough. I'm going to start doing something about this, and then so he said, okay, I'm going to go exercise. I'm going to start exercising every day. So he had a hard time just doing that, you know. So he said, okay. The coach told him, okay, just show up at the gym. Just show up. Don't have any other goal in your life, but just show up. He goes, show up 5 times for the first week. I just want you to get there. You don't have to do any exercise. And he goes, that's all I got to do. What's that's going to do? Trust me, he's going to start a habit. And then so what he started to do, he says, okay, well, so he would just show up, stay there for a little bit, and he would leave. And they, you know, people thought I was stupid and ridiculous. But after the first week, and then the next week, he started, okay, now we'll just start with one exercise. Show up for 5 minutes, then we'll start with one exercise. And eventually, they said over a year's time, he became very disciplined, and he lost the weight. But all this stuff is related. I mean, even your finances. People say, well, so, you know, I remember I read Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and he says a lot of the reasons we don't have the finances we have is because our habits. It's not how much money we make. Is we don't know how to. We make $500 or whatever the amount is, and we blow it all. He says, wherever you're at, learn to save some, invest some, and then, you know, the rest pay your bills. And he would live. If you didn't know that, he would start you out small. He goes, get 3 little jars, and every day put a quarter in one, put a dime in another, put a nickel in another. He says, if you can do that 30 days in a row, you're gonna create some habits, and you're gonna be wealthy. And people thought it was silly, but there was a reason behind that. Because what you do with the little things, even the Bible says, what you do with the small things in life, you're going to do with the other things in life.
That's right.
Okay, I'm starting to get off. Okay, so let's get back. So what in the chapter, it talks about how to use temptation building to make your habits more attractive. So this whole chapter has to do with making your the things you want to accomplish in life, your habits more attractive.
What chapter are you talking about?
It's on chapter 2. It's on page 108.
2?
Or chapter 3, I'm sorry.
Oh.
It's on page 108, how to use the temptation building to make your habits more attractive. Okay. Okay, so again, we already have habits. And even you might consider them negative, positive, however you want to consider them, you got it. All right, so what this one guy did, this is a pretty good example. He's an electrical engineer, and he enjoyed watching Netflix, but he was out of shape. You know, he was smart, made good money, and binge. I don't know if you guys like Netflix. Some of us are junkies, some of us are not, but he said, man, and he was never motivated to go. And so what he did was say, so what can I do? What can I do to start exercising, something to push me, and at the same time enjoy what I like to do? So what he did was he built a stationary bike, like in front of the TV, when it's Netflix. So when his show comes on, he wired it up so the only way he could watch Netflix if he was pedaling the bike. He would pedal the bike, and then he would pedal the bike for you know, as long as, and then he would pedal the bike, and then he watch his show, and he eventually made it so if he slowed down a certain amount, it would just cut him off. And it, just by doing that, it got him to work out more, because he's doing two things that he loves to do, you know. So that's just one example of what you can do. If you have something that you already do, that you love to do, attach something else to it. You know, it's called, and it says right here, it's called bundling. Bundling. If you go to page 110, it says, I don't know if the big books are the same, because there's a little summary there. And I went over this last week. It's called habit stacking, and basically it's real simple. After I eat your cookie, okay, after I eat my cookie, I will do something else.
Yeah.
Okay. Or after you brush your teeth, or after, if you want to try to keep your house clean, but you know you're having problems with that, or yeah, I have an issue with that. I usually do it at the end of the week, and it's a lot to do by then, instead of doing a little bit every day.
Right.
And then so I said, okay, I mean, I love music in the morning. I love to listen, you know, 80s music.
Right.
so I said, okay, I said every morning, if I'm going to be able to listen to my 80s music, I have to clean for 20 minutes a day. You know, something like that, something you already do,
Right.
and then attach it to that, and that's going to help you create a positive habit in your life, attaching it to a habit that you already do.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So even like I attach mine to prayer, because I have the same issue. Like, okay, so after I pray, I gotta clean. So if I pray for 30 minutes, I clean for 10, 15 minutes.
Yeah.
And I know that it's a habit to where after, even like before I'm done praying, I'll be praying and cleaning, because I know that it's become a habit so much. After I pray, clean up, clean the toilet, sweep the floor, clean the countertops, and you know it is that habit stack or habit bundling does work.
Stacking,
Yep.
yeah. Just take something. So next week when we meet again, make sure you write 2 or 3 things that you habit bundle and habit stack. You know, a couple of things that you're doing, and that way we can keep each other accountable. And I got a list of all your emails and information, right?
Yeah,
I got
but you
your-
know
I
what?
got your-
You need to give me your phone number.
Okay, well, I'll give it to you at the end of the class. I'll give it. Yeah. Yeah, because I'm on Facebook right now. I don't want
You
to.
don't want to. Oh, sorry. Yeah.
I know all you ladies want to
It's-
contact me, but no.
Moreno.
I'm just kidding.
I forgot.
I'm just playing, brother.
I'm sorry.
It's a joke. Don't cancel me.
Yeah,
Don't
I know,
cancel
but
me.
I've never-
Amen. All right. Okay. So we're kind of at the hour now. What I wanted to do is play this video, and it's pretty good. It's by a young gentleman. He wrote he read the book and he put it into place here, put it to practices, and he has like 20 tips that he learned from the book, and he implemented in his own life. And it's very practical things that he did, and it's only like a 10-minute video, and then we'll wrap it up. Okay. But before we do that, is there anybody else have any questions about anything, or? All right.
Now, so next week, when we come, be ready to read the sheet that you just filled out. The goal.
Right, the habit contract.
Right. So yeah, maybe like next week, we can start off the class to where everyone can talk about their habit contract.
Yeah, so what,
Okay.
yeah, no, that's a good idea. That's that. Make sure you bring that and fill that filled out, and then we'll go one by one. Everybody will let us know. That way we can keep you accountable.
Secret drives place. Spelled
These are some lessons from the book Atomic Habits that changed my life, and hopefully it can change yours too. Just get like 1% better. Now 1% doesn't seem like all that much. You probably won't even be able to notice it. You get 1% stronger, you won't really be able to tell. 1% better parent, better businessman, better guitar player, you won't really be able to notice. But if you get 1% better every day for a year, at the end of the year, you will be 37 times better than you are today, just by getting 1% better every single day. That's something I've been trying to do, just to learn one new thing or get one tiny bit closer to my goals every single day. Honestly, this has been just super encouraging for me. Your outcome is the lagging measure of your habits. Now, what does that mean? That means that your net worth will be dependent on your spending habits. That means how healthy you are, how fit you are, is going to be the result of your eating habits and your exercise habits. So this really made me stop looking at the end result as the problem, like maybe my house is cluttered and I need to declutter my house, which yes, that is important, but also looking backwards at what are the little things that I'm doing every single day that's making my house so bad that it's messy all the time, that it's stressed. So not just looking at the end result, but also the habits that led there that are the real problem. What progress really looks like. I used to look at progress kind of like a line that goes like this, like you keep trying to improve and you keep getting a little bit better. You keep putting in work and you keep getting a little bit better result. But it's not exactly like that. It's more like this. It's kind of like the effects of compound interest. You get those same effects with your habit and the different skills that you're building. You put in a lot of work. And I've seen this in a bunch of different areas in life, especially like even with my YouTube channel, where I put the same amount of work in now that I did before, but the results are drastically different. Why things are so drastically different now is because of all the work I put in 3 years ago. But a lot of people never get to see the overnight success or the getting lucky or the crazy results because they never make it to that part of the curve because they're expecting things to continue to get better at a steady pace, and it's not really like that. Stop making goals. If you completely ignore your goals and focus on systems instead, would you get the same results? For me, the answer was yes. Now, while I do have a couple different goals, one of them being once I hit 500,000 subscribers, I'll get a Tesla, so if you want to help me get there, don't forget to subscribe. But instead, I've been really focusing on systems because a system is something that you can control. Winners and losers both have goals. What separates the two is the system. It's the little things you do every day, the habits that you form. So just kind of like stop focusing on goals and instead work on systems. You gotta change who you are. When I was getting started in the process of trying to change some habits, I would look at the desired outcome. It's kind of like looking at the goal, like because I want to be in shape, therefore I won't have this donut, or because I'm on a diet, therefore I won't have this donut. But instead, you actually have to change how you see yourself and who you are. I haven't had a donut in years, or a Pop-Tart, or fast food, or soda, not because I'm on some type of diet, but because I have changed into being a healthy person. That is how I see myself. Would a healthy, athletic person, go to McDonald's regularly? No, so I'm not gonna do that. What does a healthy person do? They eat well, they have good habits, they go to the gym consistently. So while, yes, it's important to change our habits, we also have to change who we are. The goal isn't really to read one page of a book a day, it is to become a reader. The goal isn't to eat less junk food, it is to be a healthy person. And as a healthy person, that's just what I do. Now, while that seems nice, how do you change who you are? The answer is to vote for yourself. Every time I do something good or I do something bad, I'm voting for who I want to be, who I'm going to be, who I see myself as. So it's really important to choose who you want to be, and then you have to vote for that person to become that person. You have to prove it to yourself by making small wins.
Walden University is all about change. It's time. Does your firm offer personalized index investing? So I can remove a stock that doesn't align with my goals.
I'm a broker, not a barista.
Oh, looks like Schwab personalized indexing can. Learn more about personalized indexing at Schwab today.
Small wins. As someone who didn't graduate high school and there's a joke that I only read pictures because I can't read great. I can read, I'm just not good at reading out loud. But I wanted to become a reader. So every single morning for the past almost a year now, I have read one page from a book. Now, one page isn't a big deal, and usually I read more than one page, but it's this idea of showing up and consistently casting a vote that I am a reader. And now I kind of consider myself a reader because I do it all the time now. Sometimes I just sit around and read for fun. I couldn't dream of doing that years ago. But it's because I consistently showed up and proved it to myself that I am a reader. Be specific. When I was attempting to form new habits a couple years ago, I would just kind of go, I'm gonna read today. or I'm gonna go to the gym today, or I'm gonna go for a run today. But most of the time, it wouldn't even happen that day, and it definitely wouldn't happen consistently. So instead, we need to be more specific. Maybe even write it down. I will do this behavior at this time in this location. When I actually have all those things specifically written down or planned out, I'm like a million times more likely to actually do that. Habit stacking. Now, this is kind of similar to the last one that I just talked about, but honestly, this one helps me so much because it's just like a hack. It kind of goes like this. After I do a habit that is already a habit, something that I'm doing already, I will do the new habit. So I actually kind of use this to build my morning routine. So after I shower and I make my coffee, before I get to drink my coffee, I'm gonna read one page of this book. It kind of stacks it in where every single morning I'm gonna make coffee. It's something I enjoy to do. I like that habit. And before I get to drink the coffee, I have to read a page of this book. It makes it very simple to add it in, and it takes like 30 seconds. So it's just the idea of taking a habit that's already working for you and just hijacking that, doing something right before it or right after it. So you don't have to create like this whole new thing. You're just hijacking something you're already doing. I don't know, it works really good for me. Be lucky. This is kind of like the advice of just like be better. Like, thanks, I would if I could, but you actually can, which is kind of cool. This is just really the idea of setting yourself up for success, which will make your habits a lot easier. Like if you're trying to stop having ice cream and Oreos every night as you're binge watching TV, instead of trying to fight that using all this willpower, just don't buy ice cream and Oreos. Instead, buy some apples or some other type of healthy snack so that when you get that craving for ice cream and Oreos, you can have something else. People think that I'm like a disciplined person, but I'm not really that disciplined. I just kind of created my environment to really help me maintain these habits so that I don't have to be disciplined because I don't have the option to do anything else. Making it normal, I guess. You guys have no idea how little planning I put into these videos. I'm just kind of sharing stuff that I'm learning with you, so it's not always perfect. There was a crazy stat that I read in this book. A person's chances of becoming obese increase 57% if he or she has a friend who became obese. Who you surround yourself with will drastically change your entire life. If you surround yourself with people who are wealthy, who think about money, who are business owners and entrepreneurs, you're more likely to have more money, to be careful how you spend it, to start investing, to start your own business. You surround yourself with fit people, you're much more likely to go to the gym and to eat healthy. Even just who you watch and what type of stuff you consume will shape how you think and what you think is normal. And what you think is normal is more likely what you're going to do as opposed to something that's crazy that nobody around you that just doesn't really fit in. So just being very careful who you kind of like surround yourself with. Change the way you look at things. This was honestly life-changing for me. I used to kind of like think about things the wrong way. It'd be like, I have to get up early tomorrow. I need to go to the gym after work. I just need to buy less stuff. But instead, I needed to start changing how I talk to myself and how I look at the things that I'm doing. And it actually made me do those things a lot more. Like saying, I get to wake up early tomorrow and then I'll have some calm space where I can do my morning routine before everybody else is up. I get to get better at balancing today. You know, kind of better. Or I get to buy a little bit of my freedom back today. It's reps, not days. Most of us have heard that it takes 66 days to form a new habit, or 21 days, or whatever you hear. But instead of asking how long is it going to take to make this habit stick, we should be asking how many times do I need to do this in order to make this habit stick? If I can clean up for 5 minutes every night, how many times do I have to do that before that habit sticks? And honestly, I don't know how many that number is, and it doesn't really matter. What's important is putting in the reps until it becomes automatic. It's okay to be lazy. I consider myself kind of a lazy person, but it can be in a good way. I really like to try to get the result with the least amount of effort. But it's also kind of important to realize that that's what we do. That's why we just sit there and we scroll on our phones all the time, or we watch TV. It's because it takes almost no effort to pull out your phone and start scrolling, or to just go through and watch the next thing on Netflix that starts automatically. So if we want to take advantage of that laziness, we need to set up some positive things in our lives that are very convenient and can happen almost automatic. And that's why we need to make it convenient. I pretty much stopped drinking soda and buying expensive water when I'm out simply by getting a water filter and a water bottle and filling it up and leaving it on the kitchen table until it became so convenient to just grab that thing full of water that it was more convenient than just walking out the door and having to stop somewhere and buy a water or buy a soda. So in order to start a new habit, you gotta ask yourself, how can I make this convenient? Don't break the chain. This has been probably one of the most beneficial things for me. It's just the idea of doing the same thing every single day to get you closer to your goal. So for me, with YouTube, every single day for the past like 3 years, I have done one thing to get me closer to my goal. Maybe half a million subscribers. I don't even know what my goal is, but I guess my goal is more to build that system. And when you have a chain going, it really encourages you not to break the chain. Like, I haven't been to McDonald's in 7 years. There was one time when everybody else was gonna go, it was like 12 o'clock at night. I hadn't eaten since like breakfast. I was starving, but I didn't want to break the chain, so I just starved to death for another like 2 hours till we got home. Having a chain going of days or weeks or months or years is really motivating to just stick to that habit. Track your habits. One study of over 600 people found that the people who tracked what they ate daily lost about twice as much weight as those who didn't track it. And while you don't need to do this forever, especially when you're getting started, actually taking the time to track your habits and write them down will make sticking to them a lot easier. Never miss twice. I love this. I especially use it in my health when I'm working out or dieting. It's never the first mistake that ruins you. It is the second one, which leads to the third and the fourth and the fifth. So if you're on a diet and trying to lose weight, you have one bad day, don't say screw it, the whole diet's over, I'm done. But instead, say I lost that day, but I'm getting right back to it tomorrow, and never miss twice. Focus on what you're good at. I'm more of a creative person, so instead of trying to do math, like I tried to be an accountant and it lasted like a week, it was terrible. But instead of trying to bang my head against the wall on stuff that I'm not good at, I really just focus on the things that I am good at and see if I can outsource the rest of stuff. So everybody is talented at a different thing, so find your thing that comes easy to you and focus on what you're good at instead of trying to conquer the thing that doesn't come naturally to you. Choose the right habits. Pretend you didn't see that. When you're trying to start a new habit, don't choose what I'm doing or what you see other people doing online or your friends are doing. Focus on the right ones for you. It doesn't matter what everybody else is doing. Focus on what is right for you and don't get caught up in just trying to do what is normal or cool or popular right now. It's just a waste. Use the Goldilocks rule. This is pretty much just the idea of trying to find that sweet spot where if something is too easy, you're gonna get bored with it, you're not gonna stick with it. But if something's too hard, it's gonna get discouraging, you're not gonna wanna stick with that either. So according to this book, you should try to work on a habit that is roughly 4% beyond your abilities. How they calculate that, I don't know, but don't forget to subscribe and I'll see you next week.
All right, that's it.
AG1 is so much more than a green spot. In one single scoop, it delivers daily multivitamins, prayer probiotics, stress vet.
All right, well, that was a pretty good video because it kind of reviews a lot of things we already talked about, but that's an overall presentation about the whole book, but it really re-emphasizes it. Sometimes if you see it from 2 or 3 different people, it makes more sense. Javier didn't really explain it that well, so maybe you got it better from this guy, but anyway, no, I'll see you guys next week. Thanks for coming and being on time, and then just don't forget to do the contract.
Okay.
That one, and then if you guys have any questions, you want my number, I'll
be calling.
give it to you, and then just give me a call.